The Halloween season is upon us, and WWE's NXT knows how to celebrate. On Wednesday, October 28th, NXT will be delivering a party, Halloween style, with the reemergence of Halloween Havoc, beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the USA Network. Shotzi Blackheart is your host, and one of those eerie-type matches features a haunted house of terror match with the scary Dexter Lumis against the pride of Cameron, North Carolina, Cameron Grimes. Thank you, Cameron. Hey, never have I seen a cooler hat in the profession since the days of Bugsy McGraw. So with that hat, are you a Leonard Skinner fan, and did Freebird Michael Hayes or Papa Shango inspire that hat?
Listen now, all those guys all have great hats. But when you're talking about hats, Cameron Grimes has the hat of them all. I don't need inspiration because I'm going to be the new generation. You hear me? Jim, it's good to be here. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, brother. Thank you so much. Hey, in this haunted house of terror match, could you hide an object in that hat?
If I ever did need an object, a good place to hide it would be under that hat, Jim.
Do you know anything about this match?
Jim, let me be completely honest with you. I'm not quite sure Mr. Regal actually said haunted house of terror match. I still think that he could have maybe said something a little different to Mackenzie Mitchell, and maybe she got it mixed up. Because honestly, I have no idea what to expect when it comes to the haunted house of terror match. And honestly, I really hope that this haunted house of terror match doesn't happen.
I'm thinking maybe she got it confused. It's a Cameron Grimes Funhouse match.
Well, no, that sounds a little better. In previous times we have had the Cameron Grimes Stepping Stones to the Moon match. So we are in a universe where anything can happen, and there could be a multitude of Cameron Grimes stipulation matches, but House of Horror and terror and spookies and ghouls, I don't know about all that, Jim, and I don't want no part of it, Jim.
Hey, does this match then, and or Dexter Lumis, creep you out?
Well, see, now, Cameron Grimes isn't scared of anybody, Jim, but Dexter Lumis, I don't like the way he walks around, all right? The man, honestly, I've never heard the man actually speak. The man just sits there and he stares at you. Well, I don't get that. In 2020, in the world where everyone has something to say, Dexter Lumis doesn't have anything to say. And I don't quite understand that. But that doesn't mean that I'm scared of him. That doesn't mean that I'm creeped out by him. I just don't understand him. All right, Jim? That's all it is. I just don't understand him.
Are you hoping we don't see Undertaker Druids in this match?
Again, I don't know. Who could be friends with this Lumis guy? Let's be real. He's not talking to me, so I don't know who else he would be talking to, so I don't see why he would have druids. I mean, you got to have friends that have druids, I would assume. I'm not quite sure, Jim.
Does Dexter have an advantage in this type of match?
Jim, now you're starting to ask questions that I don't believe in. You're talking about Dexter Lumis having an advantage. If anyone were to have an advantage, it would be Cameron Grimes. All the way to the moon is where I'm going. That's the advantage I have, Jim. Dexter Lumis, he may be, a little intimidating. I don't think that gives him advantage on anything. All right, Jim? Next question.
Shotzi Blackheart. What do you think of her as the host of Halloween Havoc?
Now, Shotzi Blackheart, I don't hate her. I can say that. But the fact that she's the host of the show, that's great. Maybe she could host the show well. Maybe she could change the match. Maybe it could just be a regular match now and not have to be a haunted house of terror match. Maybe Wednesday I should try to talk to Shotzi and see if that's something that we can get done. Good call, Jim.
That's what I'm saying. You should go to Shotzi. Listen, and Cameron, if you can do a howl, that would probably help because she loves to howl.
Oh, yeah. Cameron Grimes can make some noises. You know what I'm saying? How was that, Jim?
That was awesome. Yes.
You're dang right it was, Jim.
Hey, in all seriousness, have you gone back and watched any Halloween Havocs? Do you have any memories of Halloween Havocs?
Well, Jim, you see, I was born in 1993. So as those were happening live, I was way too young to even comprehend it. I haven't actually went back and watched it because I'm terrified of horror and scariness and WCW. But no, Jim, I don't know what to expect coming up this Wednesday, honestly. As bad as that sounds, I really have no clue.
So then you didn't seek any advice from the Yeti?
I have not. Maybe I should reach out. Any contact information?
Yes, actually. We could take this afterwards. Yes.
Great.
Hey, are you a fan of haunted houses? Have you ever been to a haunted house?
Jim, I am not a fan of anything scary, let me tell you. Cameron Grimes would much rather be sitting beachside, you know what I'm saying, than be in a dark, scary house. That's the truth.
Well, then that would reference to my next question, which I know the answer. You probably have never been then to the Biltmore Hotel in Greensboro or the Devil's Tramping Ground outside Siler City.
All of that sounds absolutely terrifying, Jim.
So, but speaking of Greensboro, has Cameron Grimes ever been to the Greensboro Coliseum to see wrestling?
Cameron Grimes knows all about the Greensboro Coliseum, let me tell you, Jim. I've been there to see multiple shows growing up as a child. I also used to be a heavy champion in the Greensboro area for 2 straight years. Cameron Grimes held that title. So, you know, Cameron Grimes knows about some Greensboro.
Hey, are we going to make Cameron Grimes country and share a little bit with the Nature Boy Ric Flair?
One more time, Jim, I didn't quite catch that.
Is Cameron Grimes, we're going to make Greensboro Cameron Grimes country. Let's share a little bit with the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Oh, yeah, let me tell you. There's been a lot of greats that come from North Carolina. But as evolution proves, each generation gets better and better. I've seen the best, I've learned from the best, and now you're going to see the true best. Cameron Grimes!
And then Cameron, speaking of Cameron, North Carolina, you were trained by the Hardy Boyz, 2 other great Cameron residents. What was it like getting experience and getting trained by them?
Listen, my fondest memories are in a wrestling ring. From the time I can remember, the ring was in my yard in Levesque, North Carolina, a little town right beside the jewel that is Cameron. All I know is wrestling, Jim. That's all I've ever known. I've seen the Hardy Boyz. I've seen all those guys from North Carolina. It's not just the Hardy Boyz that made it. There was tons. You can look back in the 90s. There was 20 guys from North Carolina that made it to the top. And now it's time for Cameron Grimes.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ohio is another state that for some reason has just resonated with distributing pro wrestlers. North Carolina is another. I think that's a... What do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Why do you think North Carolina has been such a mecca of pro wrestlers?
Well, let me tell you, Jim. North Carolina ain't got much of nothing. Besides beautiful mountains and the beach, there ain't much else you can do there. So you get in a lot of trouble. You get in a lot of fights. You learn how to fight. And you know what's good with fighting? Wrestling. When there ain't much else you can do, you got to do something, Jim. That's what makes the greats.
Seriously, with Jeff Hardy, when he closes his eyes with that paint and then opens them, does that creep you out?
Jeff's on another planet, Jim. Honestly, I don't know if I thought he had his eyes open the whole time. I didn't know he actually closed them. So that's some good insight, Jim. Thanks for the details there.
Well, I'm trying to sort of Halloween Havoc, trying to tie this all in and all. So anything creepy, scary, different like that, I'm just trying to go with it. Hey, Cameron, what's it been like for you in NXT? And even though this match is just too creepy, scary, What's it like being a part of Halloween Havoc and just being a part of NXT?
I love being a part of NXT, Jim, let me tell you. Ever since Cameron Grimes stepped in at the breakout tournament, I've worked my butt off. Cameron Grimes has been building that rocket since day one. And it's taken little bolts and screws. It's taken some pieces of metal here and there. And don't forget about the rocket fuel, Jim. You need the rocket fuel. And NXT has given me that rocket fuel. And boy, I am ready for a blast off, Jim.
That rocket fuel is going to take you to the moon.
Oh, yeah, Jim. You know where it's going. And at Halloween Havoc, after I get rid of Dexter Lumis and get past this Halloween House of Terror match, I'll be ready. I'll be strapped in. Mission Control will be talking to me, and I'll be ready for blast off. You know, Jim.
Rocket-wise, yes. I will say this. Yes, you're in that Haunted House of Terror match against Dexter Lumis. But looking at the card, would you rather be in that, or would you rather have to spin that wheel of stipulations? Shotzi's wheel.
Jim, that wheel does seem pretty terrifying. Have you seen all the choices that are on that wheel?
Yes, I have. It's wild.
Jim, I have never competed in any of those matches that were on that wheel. Any one of those matches would have been a first-time matchup for Cameron Grimes. But also, the Haunted House of Terror is a first-time matchup for Cameron Grimes. And honestly, if these were the options, I would rather sit at home, Jim. It's too scary at this show. I told you I don't like this scary stuff. And it's either I'm in a electrocution match, it seems, or I'm in a House of Horror terror match. And I need to tell you the truth, I don't want either one of them.
Maybe you and Johnny Gargano should get together and figure something out here, because I know he's all creeped out about this too.
I think there is an injustice going on. I do think that, Jim.
I'll say this. Cameron, to get through Halloween Havoc, what are the goals for Cameron Grimes?
Well, you know, after we get past October, we're getting close to Thanksgiving. And I would love to be thankful for some gold around my waist. You know what I'm saying, Jim?
Gold would look good, and gold goes good with the hat.
Hey, you know, maybe I could even get a little gold trim on a new shiny hat if I had that championship payday.
Yes! Hey, Cameron, what did then, the hat, I'm wondering too, is that something we can get on WWEshop.com?
Jim, in due time, I'm sure that Cameron Grimes hat will be available to the masses.
I love hats. That hat is right up there with the greatest hats of all time. It's just so cool. Hey, Cameron, when you were growing up, who were some of the wrestlers that you watched and enjoyed?
Of course, the Hardy Boyz were 1 and 2, just because that's where I was. I was in it. But of course, the tops, the Rock, Stone Cold, John Cena. I mean, everybody. I loved everybody. I think everybody's awesome until I have to come and work with them. And now I don't like any of them. You hear me, Jim?
I understand. Yes, I do, sir. Yes, I do. Hey, Union Pines High School. A lot of great wrestling talent from North Carolina and Union Pines. Is Cameron Grimes now the pride of Union Pines High School?
Well, you know, they never put the Hardy Boyz on the Hall of Fame in the Union Pines High School. I sat there every day in gym class and looked at those flags and wondered, why ain't they up there? But now, they're going to put Cameron Grimes up there. Let me tell you.
Does Cameron Grimes have any Halloween memories dressing up in costume? And has he ever dressed up as the Hardy Boyz?
I never dressed up as the Hardy Boyz, Jim. But I remember one year, I thought this was the year. This was the year that I was going to win at the fire department Halloween dress show. And, you know, I really thought that this was going to be the year, Jim.
What was the costume?
Well, Jim, I went as a vampire. But turns out, to be a vampire, you have to have fangs, and you have to have a cowl, and you have to have, you know, shiny dress shoes. I didn't have none of that. I just went and was hoping that they would give me the, award because I was there, but they didn't actually do that. So I just kind of sat there and realized that you actually had to have a costume to actually win the costume contest, Jim.
Well, you know what? Their loss is the way I look at it.
Yeah. I'm not over it.
Okay. Well, Cameron, listen, we'll wrap this up. So thank you so much for the time. Halloween Havoc, Wednesday, October 28th, USA Network, right around the corner, coming right up. And a really good card. You also got Raquel Gonzalez versus Rhea Ripley. You also have North American champ Damian Priest versus Johnny Gargano. They have to spin the wheel. You're going to have NXT Women's Champ Io Shirai against Candice LeRae. Also having to spin the wheel, make the deal. Thank you, Shotzi. And there's going to be a costume contest as well. I believe hosted by NXT broadcasters Vic Joseph and Wade Barrett. I'm thinking, get through this Haunted House of Terror match. You can dress up as a vampire and win the contest and redeem yourself.
Jim, that'd be 2 wins in the same night. I like where your head's at, brother.
We'll wrap it up with this. Favorite Halloween candy for Cameron Grimes is, and please don't say candy corn.
Oh, but I love candy corn, Jim.
That's your favorite?
What? It's the Halloween candy. You only get it at Halloween.
Oh, man. I finally found someone to like candy corn. And you know what? You're a individualist for sure. And couldn't expect any other way from you, Cameron Grimes. Thank you so much.
You have a good day, Jim. It was nice talking to you.